Everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do DIY Dollar Tree farmhouse looking shamrock garland. And we're going to use some cotton twine from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use some from Walmart because I'm going to run out. And I'm also going to use some of the natural colored jute as well as the green colored jute, but that's just an option. Not everybody wants the color in there, and not everybody wants all three in there. Also, you're going to need your glue gun as well as your scissor. I just didn't put my scissor up there. And you're going to need some scrap cardboard, as well as some floral stems. We're going to use the wire from this to create the stems of our shamrocks. So this is thin cardboard. I did mention when we did the hearts video that you wanted the cardboard to be kind of thick. It really just needs to be stiff. This cardboard is the center dividers of mason jars, and I had it laying around, and it was just the perfect thickness to cut through with the scissor, but it still was nice and firm. This is a Dollar Tree shamrock. These are the foam shamrocks from the Dollar Tree. I've had one left over, and I just used it as a template. I cut it down because I really wanted the finished shamrocks to be that size, but because when you wrap the string around it, it does make it a little bulkier. You want to just trim it down. So all I did was I folded it in half to get that top heart trimmed down, and then I folded the edges in half again so that it would be like basically folded in quarters, and I could cut all the hearts out. I've also cut the stem off because the technique that I want to use is we're going to wrap this stem separately. I wanted to try to make it easy. Now, for some people it may not be easier to do it this way, but for me I felt that it was easier to do it because you won't have to constantly worry about hitting the stem with the string. And the stiffness of the cardboard, if you cut it thin, obviously will lose its rigidity, so I wanted to not risk the stem popping off on some people as well. So I'm just taking a black marker. You don't have to use a black marker. I'm just doing it for the camera, and it ended up not really showing up that well anyway. No, it showed up okay. To trace onto my cardboard, this would be really good if you had like a cereal box. I feel like maybe 2 layers if you took a cereal box and glued 2 layers together. But I mentioned it in the last video. I was challenged to only do DIYs, a week worth of DIYs with items that I already had. So we're going to kind of try to do the one with that line. These were items that I had already had. The shamrock was left over from my shamrock banners, and obviously we've tons of string laying around everywhere. And then when, upcycling cardboard. So I've started with a dot of hot glue just to help me out. And then I go ahead and I wrap it all around. It was more difficult than the hearts for Valentine's Day, but it was still not impossible. I think the hardest part was just trying to get good coverage. Had I used a white colored cardboard under the white string like we did at Valentine's Day, it probably would have been not so important. But the fact that we had some holidays where there was no string, you could see the cardboard come through. So you want to make sure you get good coverage. And just like in Valentine's Day, if you have to glue, throw a little glue down to hold the string in place so it doesn't snap off, then obviously you go right ahead and do that. I just went with the string. Every once in a while if you need to glue down, that's fine. I have to tell you that I ran out of this Dollar Tree twine, and this giant twine from Walmart was way nicer, and I believe ends up being a lot less expensive. I mean, you get 220 feet at the Dollar Tree, and I think that I actually think she got this at Kroger, but it's basically, they sell it so that you can tie up your recycling. I mean, they sell it in different areas because you can also truss your turkey. But I think that's why it's always in like the hardware section or stuff, because you use it for hanging, landscaping, and all kinds of things. I don't know when I've gotten onto the twine subject. But this one was nice and thick, and it was really soft. It was really nice, and it had much better coverage. So I'm almost kind of glad that I ran out of the other stuff, right? So now we're going to take our leftover stems. Hopefully you guys know now to keep at least one bunch of leftover stems at all time. But we're going to cut about a 4-inch piece of wire, and we're just going to fold it in half. It's going to create sort of a loop end and an end end. And loop end is going to be the bottom of the stem that does not come out of the shamrock, and the other end is going to be the part that comes out of the shamrock. So I put a dot of hot glue at the end of the stem, and I just started wrapping, holding the string down on the end where we're going to attach to the shamrock, and then just wrapped. And then I ended up doing a couple of rows that were basically the length of the shamrock. I mean the length of the stem. So you're going to go over the edge and then through the two little wires that you crisscrossed, and do that a couple of times. And then decide which one is your pretty side and glue it to the pretty sides down and glue it to the shamrock. I just used a bunch of hot glue and held it there for a minute, and that worked perfectly. And actually I really like the way they came out. I feel like I saved so much time and frustration by doing it this way. If you try it another way, definitely let me know which method you try. As a matter of fact, I had filmed this already and set them up on my fireplace. And that very day I checked my email, and I got an email from Nicole. Hi, Nicole, who had sent me a picture of her shamrocks. It was pretty funny. I was like, great minds think alike. She just did white and green ones. She was thinking about doing natural as well. And I don't know her technique, but I've asked her to leave what we did different down in the comments down below, because I'm curious how she did hers. But she said she was inspired by the hearts to create shamrocks, and I said, well, so was I. So now I'm just repeating with, I've decided to make three white ones, 2 green, and 2 natural colored. But you go with the design that you want. You decide how many you want depending on how long you want your banner to be. As you guys know, I just like to inspire you with techniques and have you create your own vision of your own creations, of your own masterpieces, or that kind of thing. So like I said, this is just about the techniques. And if you see that the separate stem is working really, really well, every once in a while, I think 2 out of the 7 that I did I do 7? 2 out of this, yeah, 7. 2 out of the 7 that I did, like, I had it wrapped and then it started to just untangle because the jute has sort of a mind of its own and wants to like straighten out. So I just had to do that a couple of times. You can always add extra glue. Don't get frustrated. Just add a dot of hot glue to hold it along the way, which would be fine. And then I started to pick up a rhythm, a technique of doing the stems a little easier and making them a little prettier. But they are holding very well. Obviously, this is, this is on my mantle. This is not blowing around in the wind. If you are planning on putting these outside, because all of these materials are indoor outdoor materials except the cardboard. I guess you wouldn't want them to get wet, but blowing around in the wind, maybe after you glue the shamrock, go back with some string to just connect the 2 pieces. That'd be okay. But I just really felt, I'm not shamrock stem. I just really felt that doing the stem separately was the best alternative for me, because I can just, I pre-visualized my frustration. And I wanted to save you guys from it, right? So we mentioned the cotton string and then the natural colored jute. So if you have trouble getting the green jute at Christmas time, or if you had trouble getting the green jute at Christmas time, they do sell green jute in the garden section, usually in springtime right now, but they almost always have a 3-pack of jute in the hardware section. You get 2 naturals and 1 green, which is why a lot of us have green left over, because that was, for a while, that was the only place we could find our jute at the Dollar Tree. But I used a bunch of jute on Christmas trees 2 years ago in 2017, and I still have a few strings of it left over. I do have like only just 2 left, so I feel like next time I'm going to have to see green jute, I'm going to have to buy one, because you never know. But I really was excited to accept the challenge of doing a weeks of DIYs with only supplies that I had, not buying anything new. Actually, I have not a compilation video coming up of quick DIYs for St. Patrick's Day, last minute DIYs for St. Patrick's Day. I believe that's going to be Sunday night. I believe that's going to be Sunday night at midnight which technically Monday morning that would be. But with that, I did almost all of them were with stuff that I had already. I had bought stuff this year to do crafts with already. So some stuff was new, but it's nothing I bought just for this video. Well, that's not true. I bought them for the, and you'll see. But most of that stuff was stuff that I already had too. A couple of items were new this year to St. Patrick's Day decor. So, and that's going to be the last St. Patrick's Day decor video, craft video coming up. But we have lots of rainbow projects coming, or a couple of rainbow projects coming for the baby's birthday, plus one more coming from me. And then we're going to do some Irish soda bread. I'm going to do my Aunt Nora's Irish soda bread. If you're related to me and you've gone to the family picnic, you know Aunt Nora's soda bread was one that always came. And I am going to share that with you guys. I have I guess in 1992 or 3, I got the recipe and I wrote it on a little notepad, and I've been keeping that jotted down recipe in my folder. I dare not rewrite it. I mean, I've rewritten it in cookbooks, but I dare not throw out the original. Anyhow, so now we're just doing the same with the green, and like I said, the green jute was a lot more forgiving or giving even than the natural. The natural is just a little bit stiffer. The green is a little bit more twiny. So it kind of falls between the twine and the jute. All right. And, yeah, I don't know. St. Patrick's Day is very special to me. Every year, it's always just been a source of celebration. We are 50% Irish. My mother is 100% Irish descent. Her parents were first generation Americans, so they are so we're very proud of that side of our heritage. Actually, we're proud of all of our heritage, but we celebrate that especially on St. Patrick's Day. All right, so somebody had mentioned in the comments, and I don't know if they were, I can't really tell by the text if they were joking or just making comments, but they said that St. Patrick was Italian, and there is 2 schools, one that says that he was of Italian descent but born in England, and then one said he was of Italian descent born in Scotland, but that is irrelevant to the fact that he's the patron saint of Ireland, because he brought Christianity to Ireland in, I think I mentioned this in the last video. He used the Shamrocks that were overflowing as the symbol for the Holy Trinity, because there's 3 leaves on a shamrock, and he used them to symbol the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So anyway, that's the little bit of story. So the fact, whatever his nationality is, his descent is really not relevant to the fact that that he also chased the snakes out of Ireland. That's the more folklore type of legend portion of the conversation, or portion of the story. How much is legend, how much is based on fact, kind of thing. So anyhow, now that we're going to finish up with the last beige natural colored jute shamrocks. Now again, decide how many you want to have on yours. I decided on 7. Just because of the look that I wanted to go with, just to incorporate a tiny bit of color, but mostly neutrals. The St. Patrick's Day, the St. Pat's banner, the paper banner that we made the other day, was the same. It was mostly neutral colors with splashes of green in them. And Mom always is encouraging me to add more orange for the Northern Ireland portion of Ireland, but there just doesn't come up a lot of opportunity to do that, other than like leprechaun beards. Like, you know, that you don't find a lot of orange decor to redo. So my gnome has a new hat that has Irish flags on it, so there's orange in there. So stay tuned for that. He's in the compilation video. And I feel like somebody asked me how to make corned beef and cabbage on the video once before, but I've mentioned this before. You basically put your corned beef in the bottom of the pot, your potatoes on top of that, your cabbage on top of that, cut in quarters, cover it with water, and boil it until you want its tenderness done. No, Dad always taught me boil it till the potatoes are done, and then everything should be finished. So, all right, so now we're just going to string them all together. I took this little twig, this little stick that I had left over that I actually used from the heart video. I glued a little twist of the cotton twine to it. I decided to hang mine with cotton twine, and I threaded it through the pretty sides of all of the front sides, the back sides of all of the shamrocks. And again, I chose to do them straight on, but you could always hang them on an angle if you wanted to. Maybe made them, you know, one this way, one that way kind of thing. So first I just laid out my design. You do that as well. You decide how you want them to look once you get them all done together. And I opted to do white, natural, green, white, green, natural, almost like a mirror image kind of thing. All right. And then if you have a little trouble, just try twisting the stick. Plus, we've used other methods before. We've done threaded the string through a zip tie, works really well. You kind of use a zip tie as a needle. That's a little bit thicker, so it's a little harder to get under the tight string. However, the lead-in part of it is much easier. So it's sort of, I did notice that came out with new zip ties at the Dollar Tree that have little tiny zip ties, which would probably have worked perfect for this. I think you would have to pop out the plastic piece and use it as a needle if you're going to do that. Okay. And then when you have them all tied together, you make your loops on both ends and then you hang. And I like to use this method so we can slide the shamrocks back and forth and adjust them accordingly. And that's it. So I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial. It's very similar to the one on Valentine's Day. If you do, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to share this video with friends and family, anybody who might be interested in making this little farmhouse St. Patrick's Day DIY. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe, and when you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. And as always, take care, God bless, and we'll see you next time.